Hi, I'm Stephanie Mitchell. I am interviewing Daniel Shaughnessy today. He so graciously agreed to talk to us. Daniel is a mortgage lender that I met recently, and so he's going to just share with us about his industry and just what makes it interesting. So, Daniel, you want to make a little introduction about yourself?
Well, for starters, good afternoon. Um, my name is Daniel Shaughnessy. I work for Mortgage Right. I am a mortgage loan originator. Hmm, That about covers it.
loan originator loan originator, so I was close.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if
Yeah,
those
no,
are
there are mortgage lender that my website is danlelender.com. So that's exactly what I
okay,
am. Yeah.
so it
So,
works. Okay, perfect.
mhm, yeah.
Nice.
So you had it right. So
Good.
how are you? How is BNI? How are things going on the networking side? That's how we met. It was at a networking event at Toyota Field, my favorite place.
Yeah, so it's going well. I enjoy BNI a lot. I'm getting a lot out of it, and one of the core values, as you know, is givers gain. And that's very unique because up to the time that I found out about BNI, that was not really something that was a common value that I really found in a lot of organizations. So it's refreshing and also it works. So I've been, subbing for people and, you know, having lots of one-to-ones, and I've been meeting lots of really talented people in all kinds of areas. And the interesting thing to me is that even if I think, previous to a one-to-one, oh, this person, I don't know if we can really help each other, we each always find something of value to take out of it. So I like that.
Absolutely. I did BNI for a short time, and I that is by far my favorite value as well, or my
Yeah.
favorite their the way they do things. That's
Mm-hmm.
that and it's funny that you mentioned that's how we run our office. Like that is my absolute favorite part of Mortgage Right. We work as a team, and if you need a book to read the Go Giver series. That is fantastic, and that it goes along with. It's just some parables. They're short. They're good reads. I've read them a number of times, but that was my gift from my sales manager and mentor when I first hired on here, and we really try to push that around the office as well as that's again it segued like that was BNI was is very much they as you know they that was my favorite part, and people, it's nice being in a room full of like-minded people that lift each other up, and that's the beauty of BNI. It's not really it wasn't my intention to do a BNI promo, but if you don't, how are you liking it so far? I know you're fairly new to it.
Yeah, I just joined in December and I love it so far. I think it's very high quality is what comes to mind. That's just top of mind. High quality in just so many different ways. And it is unique, and that's what I think uh for those listening or watching, BNI stands for Business Network International. I explained that because before December of last year, I never heard of it. So yeah, so that's what it is, and it's the largest networking organization in the world, and it is wildly successful. I met some people this morning that have been in it for 7 years, 14 years. This isn't just for people trying to get more clients. It's a very it's a great place to have that network of referrals of people in every industry you could imagine for anything. It's yeah. So yeah, it was I went to the Trash Pandas business mixer. That's where I met Daniel, and it wasn't a BNI specific event, but there was lots of BNI people there, and Daniel did visit our chapter one day. So But I'm so glad to hear that your company that you work at, Mark is right that they have that same value. That's I love to see that. So tell me more about how that looks in just, typical day to day. How does that get lived out?
Well, for instance, we are veteran owned and operated. We give veterans by far the best deal in market for VA loans. And we can talk about that more in a minute. But for instance, we work a lot with the Bearded Warriors. When they do a project, we make sure our team shows up. We painted a house a few weeks ago for a 96-year-old Korean War veteran, and it looked amazing. It came out great. And they do, Home Depot is one of their sponsors, so they provide most of the materials. And we go out there and we get to it. Myself, like I said, we give back. When it comes to veterans, we give them haircuts. We do, one of our core members of, he does what John Green Jr. I love that guy. He does free mortgage counseling at DAV. That's Disabled American Veterans here in town. He does it for all the way to, from all throughout Alabama, all the way to Tuscaloosa down. He's done VA loans for DAV in, he had one down on the Gulf Coast recently, last week maybe. He closed on one remotely. And it's just because we walk the walk around here. That was part of the deal when I hired on, is that, us lowly mortgage loan originators take a little less on the side. That's how we do the best by our veterans. We are expected to do charity work, to give back to veterans when we do those. Bearded Warrior, we're very close with that group. Let's see, like I said, the haircuts, we do, a lot for DAV. Whenever something comes up for vets, we try to step up. I myself am not a veteran, but most of the men that work here are these either soldiers or Marines, because there is a difference. Just ask them. So
Yeah.
yeah, and they're all, it's a wonderful group of guys, and that carries over into the team mentality that we keep here. That we win together, we fail together, and we do right by our clients. And we do a loan product is a loan product. We are home loan mortgage company. So if we can do it, if anybody can do it, we can. There's nothing, as another mentor likes to say, there's not a product out there that we cannot do the same thing, because and the big thing is we're a local lender. We are right here. We have the best spot in town. I don't know if you can see behind me. Here, I'll even give
Hmm.
I'll show off a little bit. That is the balcony in the Humphreys Bar and Grill, and across the
Oh
street.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's our conference room, and which we have the coolest spot downtown. We are across the street from Anna's Coffee Roasters, right on Clinton Avenue. So
Oh
we're
yeah, I
not
go
hard.
there a lot.
We're right across the street. Stop and say hi. So,
Okay.
but you'll have to either give me a shout or knock on the door real hard, because we don't let anybody just walk in, because we are in such a high traffic area.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
yeah, with that said, we're in a great location. I'm not quite, I can't quite remember where I was going with that, but we do a lot of good stuff for the community. We are expected, it was part of the hire on process. We were expected to do that. We were expected to work as a team, and we do. It's not difficult with the men that work here. They're used to that
Hmm.
sort of thing. We all have like team backgrounds as far as previous careers or military or anything like that. So it works well, and we're a family like every other company. We're small. Oh, we're local. That was where I was going with that. Is
Yeah, yeah.
when because in this day and age, it's a couple of you're a couple of keys away from everything. From Google will tell you what to do and how to do it. However,
Yeah.
if I'm doing something wrong and you live in Huntsville, you can come here and feel free to get your hands around my neck. As that's a pretty common expression by a fellow coworker. But we are
Oh.
here, and it is helpful. It's
Uh-huh.
if you've ever bought a home, which is the biggest decision of most people's lives, like that is a
Hmm.
huge step. it's an overwhelming process. And in this
Yeah.
market is pretty wild when it comes to the real estate. And as you know, you live in Huntsville, correct?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So, do you own a
Hmm.
home?
Yeah, my husband and I
Yeah.
own a home and we bought it in 2018. So that it was crazy then, but it's nothing
It's
compared to what it is now. So
right
glad we
at the
got it
end.
then.
Yeah. Yeah. It's challenging. It is quite challenging. And that's where, and it's also frustrating. I've been in a room where we're qualifying somebody and they talk to, they had their house, talk to the owner, all good. And when we get online to make sure all of our information is correct, the house is sold. I mean, just that. I mean, I've literally been here
Yeah,
in this office doing that on a Saturday, and they sold it, and it's disheartening. It's disheartening to be a buyer in this market, and we try to we try to streamline that process, make it as take some of the pressure off. And with us being local, you can come in and we will icon people down better than most, and again, we have Honest across the road if you like coffee, and we have
yeah,
all the libations and foods you want right here at Humphreys or the Bottle or whatever you like. We are in a great spot to whatever calms you down. We will take care of it. It's when it comes to your client. So because it is, like I said, it's disheartening is the word for it in this market. Is you can have it, and it takes time. It takes time to buy a home, and we try to. It seems our clients, I'm a in-person guy. That's again why I like the network. That's
hmm
why you see me at networking events and stuff like that.
yeah,
Most of my business is referral or repeat. So, and that is why is that there, it's when you help someone buy a home, it's a relationship, and
yeah.
all you can do the best job you can. Sometimes it doesn't go your way.
Because it's relationship first, right? There is going to be no sale unless that relationship and that rapport first exists, and you've obviously figured that out.
Well, it's and again, it's not. It's one of those things. There's if you don't like doing business with guys with mustaches, then I'm not mad at you. Like it's there's not. I mean, people are people, and that's
Hmm.
exactly if that's how it is. It's tough, and that's the like I said, the go giver is a big one. Like if you can
Hmm.
if you get a chance, it's a quick and short. It's a good read, and the subsequent books.
Yeah.
And that's that giver. It's hard to keep your head up in this market. There's people
Hmm.
people that on the real estate side, there's realtors that are used to that have been in the industry for years. They're used to having an inventory of 25 homes to sell to service their clients, buyers and sellers alike. And now they've
Yeah.
got two and three
Yep.
because the inventory is down, and it's tough, and
That's what
it's
I've been hearing, especially in Huntsville. It's really insane.
it's yeah, it's different.
It's wild.
And it is, and that's that giver's gain. It's tough. You have to keep to your principles. You have to stick to your guns, and you have to,
Hmm.
it's easy to, cut corners when you need a paycheck, when you need those things. It's the same thing with sellers in this market. They're it's just the way the market is, and
Yeah.
and again, around here, principle is something that we take very seriously. So yeah, but
Hmm.
it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Like
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
tough, but
I could see how it would be easy since it is a seller's market to try to take advantage of the situation. Maybe I mean I think it's one thing to sell for a reasonable price and another just to take advantage and charge exorbitantly just because you can, because I think that you probably can. So
sure.
it's, where is the line? And but that how long do you typically, like right now, how long is it taking people to find a home, or do you not really meet them until they're ready to buy a home? How does that
No,
work?
actually, it works. I think it works a little in the reverse of how most people see it. Not just Stephanie. Most people, what you need. We're the first step. and that's actually, but that's why
Yeah.
I really like my job. You need, and now you need some sort of, and we'll talk about the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval, because that can be confusing as well. Um,
Okay.
you really need some sort of letter in your hand from a fellow like me that says you qualify for X amount of dollars. Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
wasting your time, because the average house on market in Madison County in 2021 was 6 days. So for every house that was on market for 2 weeks, there was one that was there for three. For every, you know what I mean? It's,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't even, as you know, if you know anything, if you've been in this market at all, or you're in any kind of real estate occupation, it's it's incredibly, like I said, it's incredibly fast. You can put your house up for sale and it's sold in a day. You can, which is great on a buyer
Mm-hmm.
side. But it's
Yeah.
also because of the inflated prices, which they're starting to take into account now. We also, because we're lenders, we also do refinance. So
Mm-hmm.
that's good on the owner side, to where if you have equity in your home, we can help you move that around. We can, and you can invest some of that money. You can do things like that. You can lower your interest rates are going up. There's a lot of things going on in the world that make that
Yeah.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so but again, it's still, that's one thing people like to, I'm not much of a, I try to look at the positive in things. I try to be optimistic. It's tough. But one thing I will say, and I hope you take with you, is rates are still historically incredibly low. Like, they, just because I know during the pandemic and things like that, they were giving away money for absolutely free. And it was insane. It was crazy. But if you're getting,
Uh-huh.
even if you're getting, I mean, if that's what I tell people, ask your parents what the interest rate on their house was. And as far as history goes, we are still lower than they have ever been. If you're getting a 6% rate, I bought my house 13 years ago, and that was
Mm-hmm.
my interest rate. And I thought I was Joe Financial Genius. Like, it was a very good rate back then.
Mm-hmm.
And they are still historically low. You always want to just look at what you have, try not to compare it to, other things. Or, but yeah, we went on that side as well with the refinances. We can help people. And most of our lenders, we do a lot of financial training. So a lot of our lenders will have other avenues, or there's a better way. If you have equity in your home, and say, for instance, you get a 6% interest rate, and this is more of a financial advisor type thing. I don't claim to be or anything like that. But if you're getting a hypothetical 8% out of the stock market, you're gaining 2% on the money you have in equity. Things like that.
Exactly.
So there are good
Mm-hmm.
reasons to refi. And I mean, there's excellent reasons, even with the rates moving up. There are really good reasons, or if emergencies happen, things like that. But it does take a little while to get all the paperwork in order and get it going. So
Yeah.
we make no promises on timeline. We have a baseline, but I'll just keep that to myself. And we do them as fast as we can. And it's more, and yeah, it's more a matter of, as long as everyone is on the same page. If the borrower meets us, if you show up and you've got every piece of paperwork I ever asked you for, or anything like that, in your hand, well, now we're in business. Now it's not going to take that long. But
Okay.
if it's much like everything else. If you get your homework done, the teacher's going to leave you alone.
Yeah. So if a person is organized and
Sure,
signs
it doesn't take long.
everything the when they're supposed to, yeah. Okay. So, with all of that and just the market being so crazy, what is something about what you do, being a mortgage lender that most people would hate, but that you either enjoy or that you can tolerate reasonably?
Okay, so one of the things, and I don't know if, I guess it's, again, I don't know why that word disheartening keeps coming up, but like, in this market, it is pretty cutthroat.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're up against not only lenders, but also realtors. You're up against the internet. And I will tell you this, if you spent 15 minutes online with a website and they gave you a pre-qualification, what do you think that's worth? That's That is not
Uh,
exactly, yeah, because it is not
Nothing.
how it works. And it, yeah, exactly. And the, or the, I mean, they'll give you the greatest terms ever and things like
Mhm.
that. And you'll take that along and it's not really going to mean much. And I can tell people that they are not alone in this, that that sort of thing happens every single day. And then what, or they'll see that they'll deal with a guy like me and they'll see that and then they'll say, well, I can get this rate out of them. And then they read the fine print. And the problem, what I can tell people is don't be embarrassed. It is not that it's seen, you know what I mean? If it's not too good
Mhm.
to be true,
Mhm.
it's not any of those things. That is absolutely their job. And not, I'm not disparaging any company, any mortgage company, anything like that, but buyer beware. If
Yeah.
you're getting, they read the fine print, you're buying down your rate. That is what's happening, and it's going into your loan. Um, so that, and on the realtor side, you know, it's you, well, you know, you see it online. I saw this house, this and that. That's the price. They're up against the same thing, and they get people calling them, and it's it's just my advice is to sit down with someone and have a realistic, like have realistic expectations. And if you do go out, say you sit down with a fellow like me and then you do go out and you do the online thing, don't be embarrassed to go back to the person that you started with. It is embarrassed, or you'll feel embarrassed, but they are, we deal with it every day. There is nothing
Mhm.
wrong with you shop, like the shopping around part. Of course you want the best deal. Again, huge decision. You know, you're going to borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it you, I mean, you'd be naive to not look into all your options. However, do not let a relationship that you built go to waste out of embarrassment. Everyone will be fine. There's some guys I know that just tell clients, let, I will be here when that falls apart. And that, and it's,
Yeah.
I mean, there it is, there are nicer ways to say it. And it is, like I
Mhm.
said, it's one of those things, but do not do that. If, and it happens every day. It happens to everyone. Of course, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Is don't be afraid of you to go back to your lender and say, ah, well, I gave it a shot, because we deal with it all the time. And it don't get a worse deal because you made a mistake. That it's, you know, or and I wouldn't even call it a mistake. I would say that you were looking into your options and now you're like, okay, well, they
Mhm.
were right. You know, don't be, but when it comes to that, such a big decision, pride is not your friend. Like that is,
Right.
so
Right. I would rather look dumb or feel like I'm embarrassed or like I should know something, all of those things. I would rather ask questions. It's hard though because yeah, those things are I'm thinking like, "Oh, I should know this. They're gonna think I'm so stupid about this." But
not at
it
all. This
sounds
is what we
like
do.
you expect that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what we do. And again, it's, and you know, it given it, I I totally understand, and that's sometimes, and people don't know, you know, people are people. They're gonna do the same thing, you know, and
Mhm.
it's the same thing like a media company, you know, like, oh well, so I mean, I can, I'll use Paint, or I'm not, see, I know nothing about it, so it's like that. It's like, well, I can put together a PowerPoint as like, and then I'm back, you know, with my tail between my legs, like, hey, can you show me how to do this? And
Mm, yeah.
it's one of those things, is, you know, everyone is an online expert, and Google will teach you a lot. It will tell you a bunch, and there are plenty of things to do. But you, like, if you're a professional and you're a business person, it's you, and I'm sure you know this as well. BNI will teach you this, or there's, you know, there's a certain amount of outsourcing that goes into life. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
there
a
is.
pretty good carpenter. I like to work on motorcycles, things like that. I mean, personally,
Mhm.
and when I'm out of my depth, it goes to the doctor. When I'm not sure what I'm doing, I call in help, because it's, is it going to get done when Daniel does it? Absolutely. Is it going to get done correctly by someone who has years of experience because I paid a little extra? Absolutely. And that is, I pay for peace of mind. And that, yeah, and it's all about, when it comes to loans and mortgages, it's all about fine print. And just read everything you on the bottom, all the little letters, all that little stuff. That's what you want to read. And again, it's don't let embarrassment get you a bad deal.
And you mentioned a little while ago you wanted to discuss the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval. How is that set up? What is the difference there?
Okay, so pre-qualification is what you're going to get with your 5 minutes online, or what they're going to tell you they'll give you. Okay, so now in a pre-qualification from a local lender, like someone like me, is going to, you're going to go a lot farther with a local builder or whatever, you know, a local company, because they can, hey, you can have them call me. Right now, an
Mm-hmm.
online company
Mm-hmm.
that deals with, hundreds and thousands of people. I don't know how many people they deal with a day, but a lot. It's I've heard in the past, I've never worked there, but like at different places is, it's hard to get the same person. But you have my cell phone number, like you, but
Yeah.
it's, and so, and again, if they need to speak to me or anything like that. So that's on the pre-qual side. The difference between a pre-qual is what is the difference between what you tell me, and then a pre-approval is I go through what you show me. Right. So when you back it up, when I have a list, I have a very short list of documentation that I need, W-2s, paycheck stubs, driver's license, social
Mm-hmm.
security card, things like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Once I have those things, all I do is verify what we already went through. Right. So because
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
would be in the first step is an application process, and then I go through and I clean all that up and I ask all my questions and send documentation letter. Once you give me that, now we can move into the whole pre-approval side. And then, God willing, they accept your offer, we get an address, and we're on our way. So, and but yeah, that's really the difference, is all just that it's what I can tell you I make $1 million a year and I want a $5 million house, or, but then when it comes times to show it, and I don't, it's we are the money at Mortgage Right. We are actually the lender. There are mortgage products. We're as local as it gets. Our head office, our main office is in Birmingham. That's where it started. Again, if
Mm-hmm.
and that goes back to say, on the product side, I've had clients, I have personal clients, that we've had to make a trip down, and again, a veteran client recently that my manager made a trip to, just goes to Birmingham, and hey, let's say we really wanted to do, it was a personal friend of mine, I have a personal relationship with this person, and and again, we are a team, and one of our managers went to our main office, which again, we keep very good rapport. They love us. We're very fun. Our office is quite fun. So they like coming here and buying us lunch and stuff. And we went down there and said, look, this is one of our guys and he wants us to do it. And like I said, as a branch, we took a little less and we made it happen. Now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it was, but we went down there. We are the our we are Mortgage Right, and that's our company, but powered by, usually a lot of companies are like that. It's TJC Mortgage are the products, and TJC stands for Tanner, Joe Bear, and Chris. And
Okay.
those are the three owners. Those are the three people, and I know them, all three of them personally. I've
Mm-hmm.
actually have seen all three of them recently in the last couple of weeks, and they're great. And again, it's a we are as local as it gets, and we can, and that's, I guess, just to reiterate that sort of thing, is that it's very comforting to me where I work because of that. I don't work for a big
Yeah.
company or credit union or a bank or anything like that. I have support, and that again, it's a tough business, especially in this market. There's a lot of cutthroat out there. There's a lot of that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
it's they make it easy to do the right, to stick to my principles.
Well, that's so good to hear. And I also, yeah, just to tie back to what you've shared that your company serves veterans a lot of the time. And I will tell you that I'm not personally a veteran. I'm not married to one, but I do know people that are veterans. And I've had some experiences that have shown me that veterans aren't receiving what I think that they deserve most of the time. They're not taken care of, they're not protected, they don't receive the care or just honestly the respect that they deserve. So I'm really glad that there's a company like yours that's prioritizing that and going out of their way to specifically do that because yeah, it's very needed. I'm
Yeah,
sure
we
you
do
see that.
every day, every day, and yeah, and all we can do is our part. We're
Mhm.
not, but that was, like I said, that was a conversation. I didn't, they didn't, anybody that works here didn't have to have that conversation. We were already involved when it came to that. I mean, it's Huntsville. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I have a special place for a few fundraisers in my heart. And and I'll always, it's never a bad thing. Go out and help a veteran. You'd be amazed what it does for you. They gave a lot for us. The things that they've
Yeah,
seen and the things that they've
everything.
done. Right. I mean, we're the, I'm sure your generation was, I mean, raised on war. That we've always been at war as far as right? I remember I grew up in
Yeah,
peacetime.
yeah.
So, and,
What's
it,
that like?
yeah, right.
Hmm.
I was just getting out of school when 9/11 happened. So, and it was, yeah, so it's one of those things is it's a good cause if you help a veteran. If you're not a veteran and you help a veteran, you'd be amazed, or help anybody. I'm a volunteering kind of guy, so help
Hmm.
anybody, you'd be amazed what it does for you.
Yeah, and so because you do this kind of thing, that it's not true. It's not true, this idea to say, "Oh, like, I can't I can't change the world. I'm just one person." That is such a lie, and I hate it,
It's a
and any
misconception.
yeah, yeah, it's a misconception, but it's, we can do what we can do in our corner of the world, and that will just spread outward. But yeah, it's because that is all we can do. It's just right here. If I'm complaining about stuff, going on in other parts of the world, what am I looking at? Well, how about, am I a peaceful person? It's like, I say I want peace in the world, for example. Am I a peaceful person? If the answer is anything but yes, there's always something to improve. So I like that volunteer stuff and nonprofit. I have a background in volunteering and working for nonprofits and stuff like that. So it's very important, and I find that it rewards me
Right. So
hugely.
you understand. It really, people say like it is, to do it fully is, the question, oh, well, how do you have time? Right? That's the question you get a lot. And it's my question is how do you don't? Because how do you not? It
Yeah.
or it does so much it's almost like like as it does so much for me personally
Yeah.
that I don't feel like I'm volunteering anything. I get paid. I do. It might not be monetarily, but I get
Hmm.
so much out of it. Like just emotionally, it's, there's I've been blessed enough to see the world. Um and
Oh,
there
that's so
are
cool.
it's uh under some poor circumstances, but I've seen the world and or a lot of it. I don't know, not the whole world, of course. That would take a lifetime. Um, and I've seen just so much joy and beauty and love, and I've also seen some pretty terrible things. And
Yeah.
it's where you aim your focus is what you get back. There are
Hmm.
it's the world's kind of a wild place the last the years for like 3 years, and then again raised on war, things like
Hmm.
that. It's been a wild ride, and when you try and volunteer, I personally I get this, like that, like like you said, how one person can't change the world, but you can change your world, and you can change that
Yeah.
being just a smile to somebody that's having a really garbage day, or wasn't things weren't going their way. That stuff is,
Hmm.
I don't take that lightly. And people are like, oh well, it's, and with the giving back is something, personally I guess I'm male, right? So I got to be able to point at it. So yeah, it's like, well, I did that. Like, look at me go, and I did that, and I did that, and
The ego.
yeah. So it's if you get into that, it's like I said, personally, I can reflect on stuff, different things, and they're great, and yeah, it's wonderful. It really is, and the smallest thing is, and that's people's like, don't sell yourself short. If you're, I mean, just the littlest thing, you're helping improve the world. That's it. And it doesn't mean you've got to go out and organize a fundraiser or volunteer for everything or anything like that. Just do
Hmm.
do whatever
No.
I
Yeah.
like making faces at children. Like,
Make them laugh. Yeah.
yeah, it's something like that. Is I've been, and you got to, and on. if you're feeling down, remember that you do that. Everybody's important.
Everybody is important, and we're all so different. And I think we all have something to offer. We need everyone because we all have different things that we're good at. And the I've heard recently the philosophy about if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And I do really believe in that. And it, like you said, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to, travel to Africa or somewhere to do something. I mean, if you want to do that, cool, and do that, we need that too. But yeah, just like the little whatever, what's one thing? Pick one thing. What's something you can do to fight any of the really huge issues and problems that we're facing? And so
Mhm.
that's great. Yeah, nonprofit, just volunteering. I'm all
Yeah,
about
and
it.
it's and it again, it's one of those things. I feel like, I get so much benefit out of it. It never feels like, it always feels like I'm ripping them off, or like it's not like like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it is that, and when you start, it gets, that's the problem. It can disrupt your life when you do too, because it's a high. I guess someone told me that
Yeah,
it's
you
a
could
high
do
when you
too
help people.
much.
Oh,
Yeah, you
sure,
could do too
yeah,
much.
and
It's like
and
your family at home could be,
sure.
ignored and then someone's out, but it's a balancing act like everything else, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. And again, in this, it's wild. So many people have reinvented with the pandemic and all of the silliness, and they
Mm-hmm.
and it's all, and it's a beautiful thing to see, because now you have all these diverse backgrounds coming into different worlds, and it's just the points of view, like, the world's, and I'm pretty excited about, how what's going to come of it, and it's, again, as long
Yeah.
as people keep it positive. And that's, to draw back on the networking events and things that we see each other at, is
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing like the feeling of being in a room where other people are trying to lift you up. Like, other people, everybody's got the same goal, yes, to do business and to do business well, but it's that, if you get around like-minded people that have like-minded goals and they help, well, then that's it. That's like, BNI is great. That was I'll bet that was probably the giver's gain. Of course, like you said, that's a great part of it. It's a huge lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I like the accountability of it. That was my
Yes,
favorite part.
me too.
I need accountability in my life. That's like here too, is like, I mean, like I said, I know we're a team and everything like that, but Daniel has to do his part around here in order to, keep the team going. And it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
accountability is important to me, and it is, that was my favorite part about it, is people, well, I don't have time for that. Well, then that, or, just so much as you have to, in order to be in a group, you have to do what you say you're going to do, for your
Yep.
clients, for your referrals, for all of those things. And again, it's, once you understand that, or once you start living that, which is very, very hard, like, as you know, that it
Yeah.
is hard to keep at it and keep at
Mm-hmm.
it and keep, right, time and consistency,
It's
right, that
challenging.
it
Yeah,
is
but
absolutely.
that's the only thing that's gonna work. Otherwise, no one's gonna trust me that I can do whatever they're asking me to do. And the
Yeah.
same for, perception is everything. Really, it's well, that's where it starts. And that perception comes from what they see, like you said, the consistency and those kinds of habits being held accountable is so I think is so valuable.
Yeah. Well, want to talk about a mortgage pro? I don't know. What do you have? What would you like
Yeah,
from me?
sure.
I hate to. I mean, we're getting a little idealistic, I guess, but I do know that you
Oh
personally, I
no,
do
I
know that you live it as well, and it's again, that's why we're sitting here together, is because I was very excited to be on your podcast.
oh, thank you, and I appreciate you agreeing to speak with me today. I think, you mentioned we're being idealistic, but I think that our conversation turned towards the things that are important to us, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's what's interesting to people. If we only sit here and talk about business, but we also say whatever, yeah, it's not really gonna stick. So don't worry. I think it was a
Right.
good thing. Um,
Right. Mortgage lending is incredibly exciting. I'm being sarcastic.
yeah. Yeah. So what
It's
so
exciting
you
recently to see if you're actually going to get it, and like, and see if you're everybody, and it is like,
yeah.
when you know, when you buy a home, it on the mortgage side, and that's one thing to tell your listeners. You know, everything's a piece: credit score,
Mhm.
history, you know, assets, job, things like that. But the thing I really enjoy about my job is there are people that come to me and, okay, they have this, and if depending on, you know, you can tell a lot about a person by their credit report. And but I'm a second chance kind of guy. I've been given a lot of chances
Mhm.
in my life, and I appreciate it. And I didn't take them lightly. And I don't take other people's. I don't, you know, it's I try to act from a non-judgmental outlook. And I have, since I've had chances, and I've had, and things, some things have gone my way and some things haven't, but I've I've lived a life, and that helps me view that. And like, when, for instance, when I bought my house, I was a contractor, and I made my money in big pieces, and I had to, you know, I had to show them how that worked, or I had to, my
Mhm.
credit was okay, but not great. So
Mhm.
I had to get a product that, you know, worked for that.
Yeah.
And it took time. And then you know, along the way, I repaired it. And it's amazing how your life changes when you have children. You straighten right up. So my beautiful angel will be 17 on the 1st of April. So anyhow, just a little,
Awesome.
had to throw a little shout out in there. Um, but that, uh, repairing credit, things like that, that's for
Mhm.
everybody. You know, anybody that went to college, took out a credit card, and went woohoo, or did that when they were
Mhm.
down or needed them, you know, for whatever reason.
Yep.
Or, you know, given the past few years, as well, proving income over the last few years is tricky. If you lost your job, or if you drew unemployment, or depending on what was happening, talk to your lender. You know, we're gonna know. We're not, we, like I said, we don't give away hundreds of thousands of dollars, or we don't ever give it away, but we don't lend you hundreds of thousands of dollars without doing our due diligence. But
Yeah.
don't think that if you have a little bit of credit history that you don't like, or that, you know, your job has changed, do not think that there aren't options for you. I believe that everyone deserves a chance to be in a home. Because of, personally, with my personal experiences, and I think that that benefits me greatly in my field. And it does.
Mhm.
Sometimes it costs me a lot of time, but I will work it out for you, or I will try, and I will, you know, I do
Mhm.
my best. I give every, that's my favorite part of my job, is I can help people get a plan, or if they need a little longer, you know, we have a specialist that does that, that I can send you to, that I can refer you to,
Yeah.
right? So,
Mhm.
and it's never as bad as you think. You know, generally people, if things seem bad, you know, that's your focus, so it snowballs. Or if they seem, you know, the people that it seems great, sometimes it's not as great as you think, you know. So so
Mhm.
you just, like I said, I just can't stress enough, is talk to a professional.
That's really good advice, talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about. I sold payment plans for smartphones for about a year and a half, while I was working at a store like that, and, people are really scared of their credit being run, and I think that that's a healthy fear. It could probably also be taken too far because there are different
Sure.
types of reports that can be run. There's a soft credit run, but yeah, I don't think, and there's all these commercials. I see commercials all the time of like, "Oh, use this app and then you'll have increase your credit score
Sure.
by whatever." And I'm like, what is that? That seems seems too good
Mm.
to be true. So I think it's just probably somewhere in the middle of, it doesn't have to be if there's something in your credit history or whatever, and we've all been told like, oh, if you get it checked, it's gonna make your score go down. I think maybe that's true sometimes. Maybe I don't think it's true every single time though.
Sure. So one, if it does fluctuate, it's not going to be much. Okay. So the other
Mhm.
part, if you're worried about 1 or 2 points, you probably need a little more help. Now, the other thing, just like like what you were talking about, there are different avenues and things like that. when people look, say, let's take, for instance, use or even if you go to your credit union, we'll give you your credit score, like the soft inquiry doesn't affect your credit score at all.
Mm-hmm.
Those credit scores, there's two different kinds of FICO, right? So, and
Mm-hmm.
one is for short-term credit, cars, you want to buy a refrigerator. That's the credit score that everyone is familiar with, right? So
Yeah.
that's the one that
Yeah.
nobody wants a hard pull on their credit because they're worried about this or that. And like I said, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's more a matter, and that, as far as that goes, if you want to talk about credit for a little bit, you're allowed to shop around when you pull it. When if I look at your credit score and you pulled your credit and it was say it was pulled 3 times in a week, well, we know what you were
Mm-hmm.
doing. You were either looking for, you talked to 3 different lenders, you talked to 4 different
Yeah.
car dealerships, and then they threw your credit at the wall and 20 banks pulled your credit. We can tell what that is. It does not affect your score like as much as you think. But again, when it comes to mortgage lending, it's a different score for starters, right? So you'll have your short-term credit score, which is like the FICO or your Credit Karma, these sort of places, which again,
Mm-hmm.
if it took you 5 minutes online to do it, it's probably not as reliable as you think. They're going to be different when
Yes.
you talk to me. Now, I pay to do that, so that is what is for sure, right? So
Yeah.
that's when you actually get a loan for something or financing for something. That's the score I get. But
Mm-hmm.
I get a different credit score on the mortgage side because it's for bigger purchase, like a home, a long term, the
Mm-hmm.
30-year loan purchase. So it is different. And um, sometimes that's going to in a lot of cases that's going to be a little bit lower depending on your score. If you've got a high credit score, you've got a high credit score, that kind of thing. If you're responsible, you're
Yeah.
responsible. If you've had some hiccups along the way with a car or something like that, that it's generally a fairly easy fix, or it won't, it's a short term kind of thing. It's not going to take long. I have the magic of the computer, and I have some programs that we can get a very educated guess on how long it will take and what you need to do. We have programs to do that, and we can and again, if it's that detrimental or if it's a matter of few points, we have we have things like rapid rescore. We can check your credit and rescore it quickly. However, as you know, in this market, it's not as though that's not really necessary. Sometimes you have to just be patient, and
Uh-huh.
because you're going to have multiple offers on homes, again, inventory is low, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
and the only thing I can tell people is it's going to get better. Like, things are going, the world every time you think you're up against it and the world's up against you, it'll surprise you. It's going to change. And again,
Yeah.
interest rates are like on the now, if I can, I'll do the salesman thing now. Interest rates are climbing. They are going to go up
Mm-hmm.
again, probably like this week. They are climbing quickly because of the state of the world, because of
All
the
right.
state of our economy, those sort of
Yeah.
things. So that's if you get into, and that was, you need to invite a financial advisor and they will explain that quite a bit more. But on the mortgage side, the rates are going up.
Yeah. So do you find that that's already, I'm sure it's impacting the the market, or it's about to.
Well, what it does is it gives you less buying power. When money's more expensive, that's factored into the overall picture, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you say, for instance, if you've got a 30-year loan, an interest rate of 5% as opposed to 6 is quite a bit different on as far as your buying power goes. If that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
So if you're able to find a lower interest rate, like you're able to buy a more expensive house,
Well,
is
sure,
that
you
what you're,
sure.
or just be able to compete against the cutthroat? Is that what you?
Right. It doesn't, the higher, and you can, there's different things you can do. You can buy down points, or you can, that's a negotiating thing on the buyer seller side, and then, but like buying down points, we can, depending on it, they're all pretty, people are all pretty special. Mortgages are the same. What are your goals? What do you want to do? It's
Hmm.
where you're at, where you want to be. And then Daniel figures out how we get you there. And
Yeah.
it's just, as far as the home goes, same thing with your credit and things like that. Sometimes it takes a little while, and we have different programs. We have different, we just got a 0% down product. Please don't ask me to talk about it. I have to dig into it a little more, but we do have that.
No,
We
it's
have
fine.
uh or it was 0% anyhow. Like I said, I can't talk knowledgeably on it right now. But there are different programs, and again, like there's on the VA side, we love serving veterans. That's our
Hmm.
thing, but that's a great vehicle to own a home. That's the VA does, and in that regard, on the housing side, they take very good care of their veterans as far
Oh,
as
that's
mortgages
good.
go.
That's good.
They have a lot of, they can buy a home with nothing down. They'll 100%. They'll fund, loans 100%. Um, and if depending on if they're disabled or not, it gets better, the terms, and then on the
Hmm.
inspection side, they make sure that the home is good to go. So yeah, the VA, because what a VA loan is the VA guarantees the loan. Like an FHA is a government
Hmm.
backed loan on for different reasons, and then there's and then you've got your conventional and cash, of course, cash, things like that. Then you don't need me if
Yeah.
you're paying cash. Um, it's yeah. So I mean, it's everybody has different needs. It's like any other product in this world,
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't know. Tell me about how's the media company coming along? Clearly, your podcasts I've tried to get on your schedule, and it took me a couple of weeks here. So, how's it going?
Oh yeah, thank you for your patience. Yeah, I mostly what I do is graphic design. But yeah, I just sort of do, I have a podcast. I like having things on as many different platforms as I can. I love working with technology, anything digital. I think my brain's just wired that way because I taught my grandma how to use a computer when I was 3. So pretty sure
Oh,
it's
nice.
just sort of think it's just how it works. So
Yeah,
I
clearly,
like
clearly, that's what you should be doing. Yeah.
clearly, like my mom just sent me a picture the other day of business cards that I designed when I was 6 or 7 years old. And I remember when people would come over to my house, I would tell them about my business and give them a business card. It's like I was networking as a kid. Who does that?
No, that's
It's just
fantastic.
really funny. It's just
That's
really funny, I'm sure. And the adults that the relatives that would come over, they were very respectful because they would listen to me as a child who, had her own business, but like that was so nice of them. So, but yeah, I love design. I love digital stuff, and really in this everything is going in the digital direction. So graphic design is not dying out, but if you don't adapt and, if you're in that industry and you're not willing to adapt drastically as time goes on, it's probably going to die out. Like, so that's the conception that people, they have a conception sometimes of, um, is graphic design dead? And it's like, no, it just looks different today. We've got digital prints, we've got QR codes, uh website design, branding, all those things. Social media presence extremely important. Just, what do we do when we want to know more about a business? We go look up the Facebook, the website, go look at the ratings, how many
absolutely.
stars does it have, like, that. So yeah, so but I guess in a nutshell, like I love what I do, so it doesn't really feel like work to me. I don't mind it. So it's good. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very thankful that I have the privilege of getting to do what I love to do. So
Yeah, no, that's great. And then, like, it's just speaking of competitive, there's got to be a lot of competition out there, especially in this market, huh?
yeah, there is in some ways, and in other ways, I do see that I have something unique to offer. Usually I do meet other graphic designers, but they're always doing something a little bit different. So I love meeting new graphic designers because I know then if there's something that they're good at and I'm not so good at that, then I can contact them and vice versa. So that kind of symbiotic relationship of just having a lot of valuable people in your sphere and not being threatened just because someone has more experience than you or something. Like I can learn so much from those people. So yeah, but that's I guess there's competition, but I think that there's, there's a place for everybody, and if there's a need to fill it, and that's how you stay relevant.
Yeah. And that's it.
So thanks for
That's, I guess.
asking.
Yeah, no, I love hearing about your business. Like I said, we met at the ballpark. We're still kind of getting to know each other, and yeah,
Hmm.
no, it's great. And again, it's a tricky. Every field is tricky right now.
Yeah.
People, like I said, all the reinvention and everything like that, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough running a business. I mean, essentially, we're our own business in mortgage. It's
Hmm.
and with a wonderful support team I have, and yeah, not everybody's is blessed. And the same thing, like for instance, when we went to BNI, you have a lender in your group. He's a wonderful person, and that was why we got along. Or we connected pretty quickly. A
Yeah.
lot of we when that was pretty much our whole conversation is the lenders run from each other. Oh, that's my competition. Like, no, man, he's a broker. He doesn't have a VA product, or he has other people with VA
He
products, but we're
does his
best in
own
market.
thing, right? His
Right,
own,
correct. Yes.
client
Yeah.
base that's different. Hmm.
Right. So again, we have appointment for coffee, and that's it. It's like because we do well, we do right by the VA side, and he shops around well, then he can use our product, and that's it. Now, if I
Yeah.
ran from him or I thought of him as my competition, because again, that's just
No.
not. It's not my nature. I've always one thing I learned very quickly is there's enough for everybody, and if you're
Hmm. It
honest,
really is.
if you're honest, and again, it can be a grind. You still have to work. You still have to put in your time. People,
Yeah.
well, it's, people, you can read all these business books and do all these things, and have all your vision boards.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, and that is wonderful
Yeah.
stuff. It's very good. It's
Yeah.
very, very, I encourage
Helpful.
anyone to do
Hmm.
that. Absolutely. Gratitude, huge fan, prayer, whatever,
Yep.
meditation, however
Yep.
you do, you need to stay centered and focused, because it is incredibly disheartening sometimes. But at the end of the day,
Hmm.
what is it? You got to pray with your legs. Is that it? You got to get up and move your feet. You can sit
I
around
haven't
and
heard that, but yeah,
yeah, you got to get up and
totally.
yeah, you got to. That's it. Is you can sit and think about it for 2 hours or do something about it for 20 minutes, and I guarantee you that 20 minutes is going to be a better time spent. And
I
it's
agree.
yeah. Of course, you should have a plan, and you should have a vision board, and you should be grateful and all those things. But if you
Hmm.
want clients, you gotta, as the amazing John Green Jr. that works here at Mortgage Right likes to tell me, is the closed mouth never gets fed. And that's it. You've got to get out and you've got to interact, and you've got to let people know what you're doing. And
Hmm.
and again, I try to have fun, and that generally attracts
Yeah.
people. Like I try to goof off a lot. I like to goof off, so
I
I
mean,
like to show off.
life
Like,
is way too short to not, my favorite thing to watch is comedies and things like that. I
yeah,
really, there's a place for the more serious stuff where I watch it once in a while, but if I'm going to relax, I need to watch something funny or, spend time with people who are positive, because I tell you,
absolutely.
like the rest of it, the diet of media is just, it's so negative. And when I look at the news, I go out of my way, I try to find at least one positive piece of news for the day. You can find it. It's usually buried somewhere. You keep scrolling, but but yeah,
Uh,
that's because if we become too focused on the negative stuff in the world, then we're gonna become more negative people. I'm talking to myself here too. Like it's hard.
it's true.
It's a rough time to live in. There's been rough times in history, and history kind of repeats itself. It's just, and it's like, wow, this is some stressful times. But yeah,
Absolutely.
you have that great positive perspective, but it's not that kind of inauthentic, fake kind of positivity, because like you've alluded to, you've been through some stuff, and
Sure.
you can tell that you are sincere. You are a sincere,
Thank you.
genuine person. And I can't say that about everyone. So
Well,
well done.
thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That's, you know, it, again, I have good examples, and you have to, and like you said, you're absolutely right. It's, the company you keep, and
Mhm.
it can be tricky to be positive. You have to figure out, again, start your day, work on you every morning. And it can be hard. It can be challenging. But you do, like I said, if I didn't know this was an advice column, but keep at it. Keep at it. Like next time I talk to you, we talk about diet and exercise and all. I'm not.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
love to have
yeah,
you on
yeah.
again.
Oh,
I'm
I'd
really
very much enjoy it.
Yeah, this doesn't have to be like a business podcast. I am willing to talk about anything because those things like, even just diet and exercise, that plays a role into how we perform professionally. Like
Absolutely.
this, like the way that we take care of ourselves, it's gonna show up. It's gonna show up
Yeah.
in our
Yeah, you
product and
can.
what we're selling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You're so right. It's, you can, I work 100 hours a week and you're a miserable person and I don't want to be around you. Like it's,
Yeah,
it's
that's a
that's
lot.
kind of, well, no, I mean, no, not me personally, but that's a lot of people. They think that
No, I
if they
didn't
put
think
in
it
that
was you.
time,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
like if you put in that, I understand the value of putting in that time, or the why that people can go down that road. Now there is times when you have to study. Like we're constantly learning. Mortgage products change every day. Interest
Uh-huh.
rates change every day. Like things like that change every day, and we have to stay ahead of that. We have to know what we're doing. Because for me personally, I'd never want to give somebody. I am a big fan of. I am not absolutely sure, so let me find out. And or let me, I have 50 years of experience in this office, and it's a matter of a text message or a phone call, and I'll have the right answer. And
Hmm.
you have to remember that. But again, it's the taking care of yourself part. You can, the networking events and all of these things, and BNI is such a huge time commitment. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
kudos. You guys, your group is amazing. I know I told you already, but it is no small task what you've done over there. So Power Partners, when you watch this podcast, go see Power Partners. Tell them Stephanie sent you. She'll get credit for it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
it's worth it though to me.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And again, it's like, and get your sleep, man. Like I've fallen into that trap so many times in my life, and I've
Yeah.
had, luckily enough, had somebody just recently, or it was a few months ago. Somebody was just like, "You're doing it wrong again," and it was, yeah, it's a good mentor, good friend, guy around here. And it's like, yeah, it's, is you can cut an hour off here or there if you've got to get some work done or things like that. I'm okay. I would advocate for that. Sometimes you just have to tough it out. It's been a little hectic around here lately. We've had a
Mhm.
lot of things change lately, and it's been hectic, and everyone, and again, that's the team mentality. Everybody stepped up and got it done. And yeah,
Yeah.
I finally, and then St. Patrick's Day, of course, is my favorite. I don't know if you've noticed. It's Daniel Shaughnessy is a good Irish
So
name.
because you're
So
Irish, yeah.
yes, so
Yeah.
I'm American. I'm born, made in America, built with Irish parts, right? So
Yeah. Mhm.
it's so it's, I mean, it's been fun, but you've got to remember, sleep is paramount. Taking care of yourself is paramount. You're absolutely
Mhm.
right. I've seen you talk about that online. I've seen you talk about that because, yeah, I follow you. It's
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff going on. I enjoy it. And it's, yeah, and you're absolutely right. I couldn't agree. That's why I'm here. It's just sometimes the simplest thing that everybody, oh, I know that. No, like, but sometimes you need to hear it again. Oh, I know. I got
Yeah.
to get 8 hours
Yeah.
of sleep. I gotta brush my teeth. Like everybody knows that. Well, sometimes that's a blessing for someone else. You hear it from someone else, right? So yeah. So
Yeah. The
you're well
reminders are
appreciated. Thank you
vital.
very much. What's that?
The reminders for me are vital. I forget things all the time.
Sure.
I need to be reminded. So, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I know that you're a very busy person, so thanks so much for being generous with your time and
Oh, I
offering,
like.
just
Thanks for having
talking
me.
and yeah. All right.
Very much
Well,
enjoyed it. And then
yeah, me
again,
too.
there you go. DanTheLender.com. I guess I got to say that, right? If you want a home loan or
Yeah,
you want to know
okay.
about it. That's going to take you to my landing page, and there's an application there if you want to fill out an application, or my information will be there. Give me a call. And I will answer, like I said, I will answer questions if you have another lender and you want to know if they're out to get you. Like, that's not really a thing, but no one's out to get you.
Well,
But
yeah,
no,
hopefully
I
not,
mean,
right?
yeah, right. I love answering. I mean, stuff like that is most of the time it's a simple answer, and I'll answer questions for anyone. I'll take the time, leave a message if I don't, and I will get back to you. And thank
Okay.
you for your time. I very much appreciate you doing this with our, being part of this. I enjoyed myself quite a bit. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I'll talk to you
Oh,
soon.
yes, you will.